Bashita, welcome. Welcome, Praveen. Oshada, welcome. Wonder where the others are. They're late today. Right. Anyway. Chanuka, welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Musa, welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Tanuka said he's not coming today. Yes. He told me a few days back. Yes. Welcome, Anaya. Okay. Now, the last time, Dinanchanan, welcome. The last time we were looking at an introduction to working with the string. Sashi, welcome. We saw that we were able to deal with a string just like we deal with arrays. Now, this leads us to another section of the syllabus, that is, there is a section that we call string handling. Now, I'd like to take this section as the main lesson today before we can continue arrays, since we have an idea of that one, right? So first, let's look at the document. Imran, welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Today is the 9th of August, 2020. You are looking at my writer page, I hope. Now, we have, for example, when you say string handling, this is something that most of you may not have done for O-level because it was not in your syllabus. So there are a few things that we talk about when we say string handling. One is to extract parts of a string. And the other one is to cast. We call it typecasting or convert from one data type to another. So when you say string handling, we're talking about both of these things. Now, the way of implementing string handling in programming differs a lot from one language to the other. But there is a common pseudo technique that you have to understand. So for example, when you say, okay, let's say for example, let's go example 1. Okay. The user enters, just give me a moment. The last class was on the 2nd of August. I need to just check that file for something we did. I need to make sure where we actually stopped on that. 06 208. A-level, that's the one. Okay, we took the array and then, okay, we basically printed the name in reverse, taking it a letter at a time. And yeah, Amri, welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, we had the temperature questions. Okay, fine. So I was done. Just had to make sure. Right. So the user enters a name enters a name let's do it like this. Program to input a name and construct, no, it's too much for the first one. Program to input a date in the format DDMMYYYY. That means enter the date as day, month, and year. Day, month, and year. That's 2 digits for each. The program should validate. This is a bit of a big exercise as it's new to you. Otherwise, it's not a big deal. So the program should validate the date so that the day will be between 01 to 31. Month between 12 and 1 and 12. And year greater than 19 20. Anything as long as it's greater than 1920. Between this one and that's one. It should ensure that only 10 characters are entered. 10 characters, that is this one. 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then the 2 hyphens in the middle, 9 and 10, right? So this is what the program should do. And at the end, output if the date was valid or not. Okay, so this is basically what we should do. So if the program, if the user has entered like an invalid date, where the month is more than 12, for example, or the day is more than 31, then it should give an error message. It should basically say invalid. If it is correct, it meets all those conditions, it should say valid. That's basically what we want. Okay. And then we come to the next thing. I was just making sure we are in the same section. Let's say an example. So let's get this to work now. I want to open up the Python editor. No, before the Python editor, let's look at a pseudo version of this. So let's say we have the pseudo and this side for Python. So enter the date, the full date. Enter the full date. We will call that capital D and date. Now you have the input. So remember that because the date is entered as digits and hyphens, it can't be a number, it must be a string. Okay. Now you want to say take out from there the different parts, right? Now before I go to explain that, let us take a look at this one. A typical date that, for example, today is 09/08/2020. So this should be taken as valid, right? Wait, it's taking too much time for me to do it there. Let me do it like this. Let's do it on the board and I'll just take a quick picture of it. Today's date 09/08/2020. Now, when you want to break it up, when you want to do a string handling function on this, we want these two out separately, and these 4. We can allow anything in place of the hyphen. We're not too concerned about that. So they could put any symbol. We don't care about that for the moment, let's say. Now, these positions, the positions, for example, the 0, it is at position 0. Then position 1, the dash is 3, then this is 4. 5, 6, and 7. The 2 is 7. 8, 9, 10. No, I missed something. 0, 1, 2, 3. I made a mistake in counting. If this is 1, then the hyphen is 2, the 0 is 3. 4, 5, 6. Now that means I'm going to end up with the last 0 being position 9. The reason for this is because we started off with the 0, position 0. If I were to go with position 1, the first position is 1, it will be 1 to 10. So I want this to be taken out as the day, this to be taken as the month, and that part the year. So that's all we want to do. And then do the check on them. If it's all fine, we will say valid. Otherwise, we're going to say invalid. Now, in this example, so I think I want to take this out. Take a screenshot of this. So let's first. Take that screenshot here. Insert image. Pictures. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. A little bit on that one. Let's just right side and 9 point. Okay. Now this is what we want to do. So how do you, in pseudo, how do you extract the day out? We do like this. We say day equals to, it's a normal variable, okay? We have a function that we would want to use. Now these pseudo functions that we use are non-standard. So on every question paper, they will give you the command that you have to be using for pseudo. So for example, I have a method of saying, take from the left-hand side, watch very carefully, focus 100%, okay? There is a function called left, just like we have used a function called int. What does int do? Take a value that is input and convert it into a number format. Now I'm saying left of this, left of what? Take from the left of date. Take from the left of date. Pranadi, welcome. Take from the left of date. How many characters do I want? I want from the left-hand side 2 characters. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing my document. Okay. Right. Just remind me, yeah, because I keep switching screens. Okay, so take from the left. So I'm saying day is equal to, from the left hand side of date, copy for me 2 characters. Now, the user is, remember, the user is going to be inputting this. I really don't know what is going to be inside there until I check it in the code. I don't know yet. I just know I'm taking the first 2 characters. So the next thing I'm going to do is say month equals. Now, so before I take the month, let's take the year. Year equals, from the right hand side of date, take 4 characters. That means from here 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2020 gets copied from the right hand side, and that will be taken as year. Now, when it comes to month, Insha, welcome. Sasindu, welcome. You guys are late, which reminds me, Nuha is not here yet. Okay. Just give me a second, I think. He's not a person to cut the classes. Let me just send a quick message. Nuha is missing from the class. Okay, so now we come to the part of taking the month out. And here is what we do. We have a function called mid. It's a little tricky. Now, watch very carefully how you use mid, okay? I want to take from the middle. From the middle of what? From the middle of date. Okay, the middle can be anywhere. This can be the middle, this can be the middle where the mouse is being kept. Even this can be the middle. Anywhere can be the middle, right? When you say he was standing on the middle of the road, doesn't mean he was exactly in the center, right? So when you say middle, mid, it could be any position. I want to say starting at position number 3. So I say starting at 3. Now, it's not like left or right. You have to say, okay, so you want to start from the 3rd position. How many characters do you want? I want 2. So that's how you specify the mid function. Left will say, give me from the left of date 2 characters. Right says, give me from the right of date 4 characters. Mid says, give me from the middle of date starting at 3 2 characters. So you have to first know exactly whether your programming language is starting from position 0 or position 1. Now, in the case of Pascal, which you guys are not using, it starts from 1. In the case of Visual Basic, it starts from 1. With Modular, it starts from 1. You have not even heard of the language. In certain languages, many other languages, it starts from 0, like Python, C, C++, Java, PHP, Perl, and C#. Everything starts from 0. So this means basically start from 3 and give me 2, right? Then we go to the final part. Now when you have extracted these parts, remember, they were actually parts of a string. You can't extract parts of a number like this, right? You can only extract parts of a string. If you need to extract parts of a number, there are other things you do. But String handling is because you're taking parts of a string. Now, if I'm going to do a check on it, I'm going to validate it. I'm going to see, is the day in the range 1 to 31. If I'm going to do that range check, I have to make sure that the data is converted to a number format. And how do we do that? We say, take another variable. Let's call it integer day, I-day. I-day equal to integer of day. And I-month, integer month, equals to the integer of month. Do you really have to do it on 2 lines? No, you could have done it on the top right away, but I want this to be as simple as possible. And then I-year is the integer of the year. Okay. Now I can do the check. So say if the day is less than 1, or if that I-day, the integer day, is more than 31, then we can output an error message, output or print or whatever. Invalid day. Invalid day. End this. That's finished. And if the month, I-month, is less than 1, or it's more than 12, then output invalid month. I hope this is easy for you guys to digest. It's not a big deal. And finally, if the year is less than, I said it should be greater than 1920. So if it's less than or less, I said greater than or equal to 1920. And that means if it is less than 1920, then output invalid year. End it. Now, up to here, what we have done is check the input date. First, we enter the date. Then we break it down using the built-in string functions. Then we convert it into a number format. Because it's a string, you can't do range check on it. Then we take each part and check whether it's in the range 1 to 31, 1 to 12, or less than 1920, and give the necessary error. Now, when it comes to this last line at the bottom, it could be that nothing was wrong with it, or it could be that one of those was wrong. So for this reason, to identify everything properly, we will say, take a Boolean variable, like say, errors equals to false. And say, if there is a mistake, then errors equals to true. Same thing with the next one. If it's wrong, we put an errors equals true. And same thing here, errors equals true. So that at the end of it, we can say, if errors is equal to true, then output a message to say invalid state. Otherwise, output the message to say valid state. And this. I need to adjust the margins a bit so that we can get most of this on the same page, hopefully. Top margin. I hope you guys are printing out these things I'm giving you. Okay, nice. So let's do a quick conversion into the font we want. Right, good. Now, oh, I have not saved it. It's Sunday, 2022. Right. Now we try to so up to this point, I hope it's clear. I hope you understood it. Is there any question in this, what we did? There are a lot of new things here. We have done typecasting, integer function, which of course we have used in Python. And then we have used the pseudo functions left, mid, and right for extracting parts of the string. And then we do a range check on each part. Right. So any question on that? Okay. Now we'll try to convert this code into Python. Let's get the Python editor first. Save it as Sunday. Okay. Now, I'm just going to paste the pseudo inside first. Let's start converting each line to Python. So entering the data in, the date equals the input. Now you come to this part, the tricky part. Remember, we use three functions, left, mid, and right. How do you extract it into this? Okay, so first we say equal. Now, in different languages, we have different built-in functions. For example, in Pascal, we have three commands. One is left str, mid str, and right str. In other languages like C, C#, C++, and Java, we have a function called substring, sub-str. Pascal also has a copy function. So there are different commands that we use in place of left, mid, and right. But in Python, why did I tell you all the functions without talking about Python's functions? Because Python does not have any of those functions. You want to take from the left-hand side, there is no function called left. There is no function called left, that big bracket goes off. Then how do I say take from the left-hand side of date? Remember, last time, Imran, question or mistake?
Not exactly a question. I think it's an answer to your question.
Okay.
Not doing. So like when you're gonna check the date, the entry, the user's entry as date, you're gonna actually start kind of like in an array. And for the day, you're gonna take the first two digits. So basically, you're gonna have a variable called, in our case, we use day, and you're gonna take the first index of the array date. So that is date element 0 and date element 1. Right? And since it's a string, it's going to be concatenated, and then finally you can cast it into an integer.
Good. So that's one thing you can do. So what Imran said is, we have already said this. We have already learned this method. So you can take date 0 and you can take concatenate with date 1, and you will have both of them taken as day, which means if you want to take 25 characters, you will have to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 24. Correct? Yes. Dinanchanan, you raise the hand. There's something you want to say?
Yes, sir. So we can use the split method, right? And separate it based on the hyphen.
You can use the split method, yes, provided the user is going to put the hyphen. Okay, and if there is no hyphen, then there'll be another problem.
So then, why can't you check it like for that particular element of the index if it's not equal to a number?
By the way, Dinanjanan talked about something called the split method. There is a built-in function called split. That's what he's talking about. Okay. Yes, Imran, what was the question?
So like when you said if there isn't a hyphen, you won't know what to do. So like, can't you check like if that particular character is not a number?
Yeah.
But then that will also have that's more work, right? Because you've got to cast it to another integer type and then check again.
Right. Nuha, welcome. You're late, Nuha. Okay. Now, here is what we can do without going to use extra functions. First thing, what does this do? Take 0 will take only position 0, right? In Python, we can give a range. Take 0 to 2. Think very carefully now. Digest it very well now. Okay, we are saying 0 to 2, not 2 characters. It means 0 to 2. Okay, you're giving a range here. Shouldn't it be 0 to 1? Because we want 0 and 1, right? If you want 0 and 1, you should say 0 to 1. No, but in Python, we know the for loop. When you say count 1 to 5, it will count 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you say count 1 to 3, it will go 1, 2. If you say count 0 to 3, it will go 0, 1, 2. That's the Python way of counting. Then it's 1 less than the last number. That was the last thing. Last week also we did the same thing with the for loop, right? We learned the for loop. The same rule applies here. So 0 to, if I wanted everything, I had to say 0 to 10. So it will go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So I want the first 2 characters, that's 0 and 1. So I say go up to 2. It gets a little tricky here now. There is no mid function. Take from date. Take from date. From position 3, that part is okay. I want 2 characters. Then I need, say, 3 and 4 I want. If I want to take 4, I say go up to 5. Got it? So say go up to 5. So now I can say, if I say up to 10, 3 to 10, it will give me from the start of the month up to the last part of the year, everything. So I just keep it like that. The final one, write 4. On the right hand side, you want 4. Here is what you can do. We know the position is going to be, the year starts at position what? 6. On the 2020 that's on the board, it starts at 6. Then I can say start from 6 and go up to 10. If I want, I can say start from 6 and go up to the end by just keeping it like that. Okay, this is how you would do it without using extra functions. Python is an interpreter-driven language, not a compiled language. That means there is a translation taking place every time that the program is being, every time the line is being executed. So I try my best to avoid using extra functions, because the more functions, the slower your program gets. That's how you think about efficiency, right? So if there is no need for a function, then you don't want to use it. Somebody was saying something. Musa, you said something.
How can such a small program get slow?
How can such a small program make it slow? Good question. Okay, watch this. I'm taking a new program. It's going to be 4, x in range 1000. Print x. That's all. The program is called y.py. Now, what are we expecting out of this program? What's it going to do?
1 to 999.
1 to
999.
1 to 999, output the numbers. Right. Let's run it. Pay attention to how long it's taking, such a small program. Okay, let's run. Okay, let's run it again. Let's make it a little better. Make it go up to 5000. That means 4999. Such a small program.
2 lines of code.
2 lines of code. You want to see the same program running differently? Watch. Same program. y.py, correct?
Yeah. Wow.
Want to see it again?
Did you
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Right. Once more. Right. Let's go back to the other one. Only. Let's do it again. Run. Now, that's what you call difference. Simply because I'm not running it in the editor there, I was going on the console directly. So here, so it's clear that interpreter-driven languages are absurdly slow, right? Now that's a good example to show you, simply because of the environment which you're running, the same program was running at different speeds, huge different speeds, right? So you wouldn't want to do some serious, mission critical application in Python, you would want to consider serious language. Nowadays, you will not notice, most of you will not notice it, the performance difference, simply because you're running on very, very powerful computers. But still, when performance matters, you want to reconsider the language that you can use. So that's just a demonstration of that. Okay. Let me close the terminal. Right. Now, this says take it from the start, from 6th position to the end. And then, okay, before I do anything else, I want to put a big comment and keep all of it commented, right? It's going to ignore the whole thing. I want to just stop here and just print out the day separately to see if we are getting what we want. So I don't want you to be having too much doubt about what you're doing. Right, let's run it. If I get the day, month, and year, okay, we have a syntax error on which line? Okay, sorry. Got that. Enter the date. So if I enter today's date, 09/08/2020, 9/8/2020, 3 different lines. Line 6, 7, and 8 give the output. Okay. So you know that we are now correctly breaking it down into the parts that we want. The rest of the code has been commented. When you want to put a big comment block, you just do it like that. Let's take that out. And okay. Now, we're not going to print this. Okay. Converting it to number format. So we know that we have the int function equals int of day, and this is equal to int of month, int of year. The rest of it we know. Errors is false. Now, if I day is less than 1, simple, or it's greater than 31, then output becomes print, invalid day, and errors becomes true. And if it's not necessary, we will just comment it for now. I don't like this indent. Oops. Okay. If the month is less than 1 or the month is more than 12, then print valid. Errors is true. Comment. If year is less than 1920, then output becomes print. Errors is equal to true. End if. So each if has an end if. Finally, if there are errors, we will say output invalid. Otherwise, print that one. Done. So that's basically how you are doing a complete validation on this date. Enter the full date 09/08 and 2020. Valid date. Let's try break the system now. Break the system, the code rather. 32/08/2020. Invalid day, and so it's invalid date. Okay, let's fix that part. So 31 of 13th month, 2020. Invalid month and therefore invalid date. 31 of December, 1919. Yeah. Okay, so when you give everything else valid, then the program was fine. Okay, any question? Okay, anyone else? No questions?
Sure.
Yep. Yes, Ascender.
Sir, excuse me, sir. So you can hear me, right?
Yep, I can hear you. You can
No,
hear
sir,
me, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, sir, I just wanted to like see if there's like issue with my mic. I think it's okay. So I had a question. So I just wanted to ask, like in phones, like when you go to the calendar icon, why is there like a limit, like up to like a certain number of years back, like you can go to the calendar, like after that you can't?
In the future or in the past?
No, like when you go, like when you just swipe back to like the past few years, that's like a, I think fixed. I think there's a fixed year where you can't go beyond that, right?
Yeah, because your phone didn't exist.
No, so I also like tried like once, like I think the max like you could go is until 19 too.
What phone are you using? iPhone or Android?
Android.
On iPhone, sir, have you ever tried? The calendar doesn't. The calendar has like no limit. You can't scroll to the end.
Has no limit or has a limit?
Yeah, has no limit.
Yeah, but why would it? A calendar is to mark dates and times, schedule. Why do you want to go into 100 years in the past and put a schedule?
Yeah, but it still exists.
Yeah, I know. So basically, it's like this. There is no need for the system to handle older dates. So for that reason, they have put a restriction. That's nothing to do with the system's restriction. But in the past, we had certain restrictions because after a certain day, if you put a date, it would cause an error. It would cause the wrong days to be calculated. For that reason, they had these restrictions. But nowadays, it's just a matter of like there is no need to give you an older date in the calendar. Therefore, you can't put it in. That's one. Yeah. Okay. Right. So then let us first take this program to the document. Right. So I've tried to match it line by line to what we have in the program. And as a result, we also have the exact number of lines. Right, that's nice. Imran, what's, yeah?
Before we do all of the validation and stuff, like, shouldn't we first check whether the number of characters entered is exactly 10?
Yeah, you can. But since I already taught you the length function, it's
Okay.
I didn't. I was trying to teach you the string handling functions here. Rather
Yeah,
than
okay.
length. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you would do that, correct? Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Another thing, Musa, Imran.
What's
Okay,
catching up,
something
I
else?
guess. No, nothing else.
Okay. Okay, that's how Steve Jobs makes his last speech at Stanford
Stanford,
University.
yeah.
Stanford, right? Stanford.
Stanford, yeah.
Yeah. One last thing.
One last.
Right. So basically, yeah, that's basically what we have for the string handling things. So the key things that we have learned here is the left, mid, and right functions. But like I said, remember these functions are not standard. So you will be given the functions in the paper at the exam. So when they give you a set of functions, you have to use that set of functions. But generally, these three functions have been used for a long time, right? Okay, now I'm going to give you guys a question. Question 1. Write a program to input a sentence and count the number of words in it. Really? Yeah. Okay. I want to see the pseudo version of this. So please write it in your computers on a notepad or something, on a Word document or something, so that you may share the screen for me. A pseudo only. I don't want the program. I want the pseudo. How do you count the number of words? When you say the big cat, it's 3 words. So how do you count that there are 3 words there? You will?
Look for spaces.
Yeah, you will count the spaces. And so here is the question. You will count the spaces and
Increase it by 1.
no, that's easily. And add 1, yes. So you count the spaces and add 1. So if you say the big cat, you have a space here and you have a space here. So 2 spaces is 1 word. That means if you have X spaces, add 1, you have the answer. Okay. Right. Start.
Find
Start.
find spaces. It'd be like
What? You find the spaces. What? So you have to go through each character.
oh yeah.
Right? The algorithm is that, right? You will go through each character and check if it's a space. If it's a space, you put it into a counter, and at the end
Give
you
us
add
0.
more. What's that?
A space will give us 0.
A space will give you space.
Hmm.
Right. Pseudo, right? Start the pseudo. I will tell which person should show me the work. It's 9:03. At 9:06 you have to stop. Chanuka is missing here. Who else is missing? Only from this class, not the others. Kisara, who is Kisara? Is Kisara dropped out? Okay, so Kisara has not informed me. I'm going to assume that he is gone. Kisara is out. Chanuka told me he's not going to come today. He had a problem. Okay, Kyle's name is there, but Kyle is out. Is there a Darshan here? Darshan? No. Darshan Kubendram. There is a name, so Darshan is out. Arkash is out. Arka is not the same as Praveen Akash. So that is out. Oshada, Kashita, Musa, Sanjay, Chenika. Chenika? Yeah. Yes. Amri is there. Praveen is there. Okay. Muha, yes. Dinanjanan. Oh, Dinanjanan is not in my list. Dinanjanan. Possibly just Sanad. Sanad is not in this class. Imran, yeah. Sakshi. Anaya is here, yeah. Praveen. Bashita, yeah. Okay. Anyone starting school tomorrow? Okay, let's see what we have from Praveen. Please share your screen, Praveen. Oh no. Praveen's gone. Oh, Shada, can I see your screen? Oh, Shada, can I see your screen? Oh, Shada's gone somewhere. ගමනක් ගිහිලා නින්ද ගිහිල්ලා. Can I see your screen? I don't know, I'm scared to ask you people. Praveen, what's the computer you have? Okay, Praveen, if you can't share your screen, it's okay. Then I want you to do something else. On the left-hand side, there is a text tool, the T. Click on it and then click on the board and paste your code inside there, your pseudo code.
So we don't have permission to use those, right?
Who is we? You don't have permission.
Yeah.
I give the permission, so then they can do it.
Oh.
Praveen has permission right now. Praveen? Okay, good. Don't type it, my dear. Just copy your code and paste it, the one you have done. Praveen? So what have you written? Can I see what you have written? Sanaji, can I see yours, please? Let's give a break to Praveen to do it later. You think you can paste your code for us? Either you could share your screen or you could choose the text tool and write it there. Okay. Who has finished? It's not a difficult question, guys. You only need like 60 seconds to do it. Who has finished it? Insha, have you finished it? Nuha. Why? Nuha, have you done at least a part of it? Have you tried part of it? Okay. Imran, can I see your screen? Enter sentence, length is taken. Okay. If sentence dot index, there is no dot. Sentence dot index, comma index plus 1. You don't need to do that. You just put index. Okay, very happy to see that much of progress. You are mixing up the syntax of Java with this one here. Okay, sentence is don't take sentence as an object, right? You have to learn to use the basic constructs that we are using, not specific to Java or Python, or the pseudo has a standard that you have to use, a pseudo standard.
Okay,
but yes, you have the general idea, and I can see that you are almost done with it. So it's minor bugs. Okay, fine,
okay.
good.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Okay, I'm going to do the answer because I don't think most of the guys are able to do this one, although it is a small question. Let's see. You've done it, Dinanjanan? Okay, share your screen, please. Sentence. This syntax is not Python, nor is it pseudo. It's not on either side. It's pseudo Python. Yes. Words is 0. If so for I 0 to length. Okay. Right. Okay, fine. Works, but I would have preferred a small bug there. You have to say length sentence -1. It's in Python that you go automatically one less. Okay, take it off. Okay, Gunanjanan's screen you didn't see. You must have closed it. Okay. Right, so I'm going to do it. Anyone else who would like me to see their work? No. Okay. No problemo. Let's do the pseudo first. Input a sentence and output. To save me some time, I would like to take a table and so we go with input, enter sentence, enter sentence. And we prefer to type the first letter of the variable in capital letters, right? The so-called Hungarian notation, because examiners like that. Okay. I know people who normally do C, Java, Python, they would start with simple letters. These are different standards. So the next thing now, first let's say length equals to the length of sentence. Now I go from the beginning all the way to the last character. I will assume that the first character is 0, position 0. For index equals, or let's use a different variable, for pause equals 0 to length minus 1. Do. What do we do? I need to have a word count. Let's say words is initially 1. And each time I take a sentence, if the position I'm counting at that moment is equal to a space, is equal to a space, then I will say the new value of words is the current value of words plus 1. If it's not the case, leave it. Go count the next one. If I have a space, then I count it. Because words started at 1, I'm going to, there is no need to add an extra one. Dinanjanan started at 0, so he had to add 1 extra one. And at the end of it, I will say output word count. Words equals. So that's more like almost like what you would do in Python. Let's go into Thorny and oh, so let's make the change. Sentence equals input the sentence. Length equals function is length. Words is 1. For pause is pause in range. It's going to change a bit. I don't need to count 0 to length minus 1. Okay, let's put it in range 0, comma length. Anyway, it's going to go length minus 1. If sentence position is equal to that, then Words is words plus 1. And if and the if part. So what we are doing here is this. Words is 1 in the start, right? So because if the person just types a word like house, it's just one word. So there's nothing else to do there. Now, after we have taken that, we go pos is counted from 0 to length. So the first time you enter the loop on line 7, the first time you enter the loop, pos is going to be 0. It's not going to do anything because the first letter is not going to be a space. So let's say, for example, if you had typed the word an ant, the words an ant, so it's an and then there is a space. So okay, here's what I'd like to do. Explain that further. Let's go to the board. Okay. Now, the user's input is going to be, let's say, an ant. So there's a space here, okay? Positions 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, let's trace this. For pos in range 0, so pos is 0. To length means it will stop when it's length minus 1. Our length is going to be 5, 6. So length is 6. If sentence element number pos, so sentence element number pos is 0 means this one. Is it equal to a space? No. Then it goes end if end for. Next. Pos is 1. Next line. If sentence pos means sentence 1 is space. No. Oh, I forgot this one. Words equals 1. Words equals 1. Then when pos is 1, is this equal to space? No. Then pos is, you go back to the top. Pos is 2. Enter the line. If sentence pos means sentence 2 equals space. Sentence 2 equals space. Yes. Position 2 is a space. Then words is words plus 1. Words becomes 2. Next one. End 4. Pos is 3. Is position 3 space? No. Then is position 4 space? No. Position 5 space? No. And it will stop because it is almost 6. 1 less than 6 is 5. So stop. And it comes out of the loop, print words, answer 2. So our answer is 2. And therefore, it will print output words equals 2. That's the answer. So that's how this algorithm works. Oshada, you have a question? You just click it by mistake.
Saying that if sentence pos is it double equal to single equal?
If it's a program, it is single, double. If it's pseudo, it's single.
Okay, sir. So for Python, it should be double, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You asked me this question some time back as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. It's okay. It's good to clarify. Samadhi, okay? We go back to Tony. Run. Syntax error where? Was in range, has error. In range 0 common length. Invalid syntax. What are we missing? What are we missing? Input sentence is okay. Length sentence is okay. Length is okay. For false, sorry. For false in range. Enter sentence. The cat. 2. Run again. Matt. Okay, 1. Run again. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. How many of you know this sentence? What's special about this sentence? 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9. Who has heard of this sentence? Yes, it has all of the letters of the alphabet. When my father taught me to use the typewriter when I was a kid, he said to practice this sentence because you type all the letters. A to Z, the entire alphabet is there. Yeah. Right. So the code works, but this is not a great piece of code, but it is working. I mean, there are some issues in this algorithm. For example, if you type double space, you might have unpredicted results. If you put spaces before the data, before the sentence, it will give you the wrong results. Let's take this program to the document. Fine. So as you can see, once again, the program matches a lot with the pseudo version, because we're trying to keep it as close as possible to the pseudo version. And Oshada, once again, you notice that on the left-hand side, the pseudo has the if command with 1 equal sign, and the Python has 2 equal signs. In most of the languages, we use 2 equal signs. In most of the languages like C, C++, C#, Java, PHP, and Perl, as well as this one, Python as well. Right. Now, it wasn't a big deal, this program. It was quite straightforward. Oh, it's time to go. Okay, here is what I want you to do. Question number 2. I want this to be done for homework. And please do it. It's your chance to practice and revise stuff, so please do it. I want you to write a program to input a full name and output the initials only. Example, enter a full name. I'm going to say Tom and Jerry. The output must be EAJ. Okay. So that's a pretty simple question. If anyone likes to have a bit of a difficult question, I'm willing to give it. Who wants a bit of a slightly difficult question? Very bold people. Okay, I'm going to give you the question, right? The ones who do it will make me feel very, very happy, okay? I'm not looking at anyone trying to copy or anything like that, okay? Program to input a sentence and output the number of times each letter occurs. Okay, if you can do that, make me proud. I want, for example, let me give you a simple example just to demonstrate this one. Enter a sentence, and the user says the hen flew. That's a sentence. Let's make it easy. So it should say he came once, H came two times, E came 1, 2, 3 times, N came once, W once, and L is once. Why did I put that first? Okay. So the ones who do it make me proud. Yes. You don't need too much skills to do it. It's pretty easy, this code. The ones who don't do it don't feel disappointed, as long as you could at least get there. It's not in hitting the target, it's in the journey you make to get there, right? The effort you put to get there. All right, guys, some final note, just a reminder, today is the 9th of August, which means we passed the first week. We have a policy. I would appreciate it much if you're able to pay your fees within the first week of the month, for the month, not first week of the next month, right? So please do that if you can. That would be great. Appreciate it. If you can do the homework, that's great. I'm here until you all leave the class. If you have any questions, please ask. If not, enjoy your weekend. Bye, guys.